Okay guys, well we're back at it, and I ordered the parts about 5 days ago, and I got the kit in maybe 2 days ago, and we're ready to go ahead and get back at putting this carburetor together. So the first thing I want to do is just go ahead and open up the new kit, lay out the parts, and then we'll get started. So that's looking better. That's looking better. There we go. It's interesting, they have basically the same gasket made out of two different materials. So I guess I'm just going to go with the material the old one was made out of. Extra, extra, extra. And I was looking for this little screen, and now I have it. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and put this little lever guy back in, because in my book it's pretty much all downhill once you get this guy back in. So we're going to take this little piece of rod here and slide it in, and then we're going to take the old spring and drop it in the hole. I don't know why, but the new kit did not have a new spring. And when you're looking at this rod, there's a little indentation, there's a little bump on it. This bump has to go right over that spring. So the other thing we need to do is go ahead and drop this needle down this little hole right here. Now I want to show you a trick. There's a little screw here. You can barely see. I want to show you a little trick for putting that screw back in. I've got a magnet here. So if you have a magnet, just take your screwdriver and rub it against the magnet, and you're going to magnetize it. And then what you can do is put the screw on, and now you can put that screw on without having it fall off. Just assume that it took me several tries to get this, and I'm only showing you the one that worked, because this is, I'm sure there's a trick to it, but I keep dropping the darn thing. Oh my God, that is just a pain in the butt. Come on, there you go. Oops, keeps coming off. Didn't get the spring on that one. Line up the spring under that, pushing down. So then just tighten the screw down. I had a little bit of an issue here, guys. This lever, Walbro makes a special tool. It's shaped like a W. You put it across the carb, and you can set the height of this lever, and all you do is you kind of bend it up or down depending on what you need. But I don't have the tool, so I called my dealer, and again, guys, like, I know you can find parts cheaper on the internet, but advice from somebody who's been fixing equipment all their lives is tough to find. So I called my dealer. I asked for the two people I knew at the dealer who know who I am. One of them was off today. The other fella came right on, said, yep, I explained who I was, and he was like, yep, I know who you are. So I told him what I needed was how to set the height on this lever. And he said all you need to do to set the height is basically just put a straight edge across the top of the carb, and this lever should be just under the straight edge. That's the quick and dirty way to do it. Just touching or just under. So I am going to go ahead and put my straight edge on, and I can't film this so you guys can see it, but all you need to do is, if you need to adjust the height of the lever, you can just put a little pressure on this guy and then bend it up or down as needed. That little lever is literally just below my straight edge. Before we go any farther, guys, I just want to let you know that I'm cheating. I've been using safety glasses with magnifiers on them, so things are a little bit easier to see. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and put the new screen in this hole, and we want to be very careful not to break it. So I'm going to just kind of slide it over there. And then again, I want to thank Donnie Boy for this little tip. Is you just take a drill bit that's a little bit smaller than the screen, and you use that to push it down. Use the flat end of the drill bit, don't use the pointy end. I'm sure you guys know that, but just in case. And my drill bit was a little bit big, so I'm just going to push ever so gently Yeah, that's had more to give. Push ever so gently with a different sized bit. I've already fumbled with the gaskets a bit to make sure they're facing the right way. But first I'm going to put this kind of transparent gasket on this side. And then I'm going to put this thicker gasket on. And remember, this was the one that when we took things apart, it stuck to this piece. So that's how I remember that this one was on the outside. So we'll go ahead and put those on and mess up all the screw holes. And then remember I showed you how this piece has got a little round part on it there? Well, that round part is right over here. So if I just put this down on top, grab my magnet, make sure my screwdriver is magnetized, we should be good to start putting these screws back in. And you don't want to go super tight right away. You want to leave them a little bit loose. So if the piece needs to move to fit better, it will. If you catch a lot of resistance, don't force anything. Just back it out and try again. But if you're catching resistance, you probably don't have your gasket lined up right. And then once you get them all down, you want to tighten them down in a crisscross pattern so you don't warp the cover. Remember, on this side we had the thick one and then the thin one. There's a little notch here to line things up. And just go easy when you're putting your screws in, because you want to make sure you don't catch your gasket by mistake and ruin it. I'm not lining up. There's a notch here to line things up, and I'm not catching the notch. Wonder why that is. Oh, there's no notch in the gasket. That's weird. So remember I said don't rush things because you don't want to screw up the gasket? So I was having trouble because there's a locating notch over here that wasn't going down for me. Well, I had this gasket in backwards, so the notch wasn't going through. So all we need to do is flip our gasket around, and now everything lines up good. Don't kill the screws right away. Just snug them down a little bit less than snug so you got some play in there. Or snug them and then back off a touch. So you got some room to wiggle. And we just rebuilt our carb, you know. Once you get down to it, it's really not a big deal. It took me immensely longer to film than had I just done this without filming. But I'm feeling pretty good about this carb. Let's go ahead and put the carburetor back on the saw. All we need to do is go ahead and slide it back on. And the impulse line is down there. You just gotta make sure it gets into the hole. Okay. Then I've got to get this fuel hose back on. That should do it. All we need to do now is just figure out how to get this throttle back on. So I'll just push this down a little bit. And then move the throttle, kind of push up on it, and we just need it to catch. There it is. Now I've got my bag with my air filter holder parts here. Throttle's working. I don't know if you can see or not. The throttle plate's moving. Choke's working good. Got my fuel line hooked up. Got my impulse line. So now we can go ahead and put this little plastic piece, which kind of fits into. You see these little gaps, this little line here? This little plastic piece has some lines that fit into it. Gives you a nice tight seal. Then we can put on this piece here. Wonder if this one goes like this or like that. I think it goes like that. Yep, that's how it goes. And then we got these little nuts here. Okay, I was kind of nervous about tightening these little nuts down too much and breaking some plastic, but they definitely do bottom out. I mean, I'm still not going to go animal on them, but you will feel some resistance once you get down there. So that's good. This piece is nice and sturdy. Then I've got this little rubber piece here to cover the screws. See if I can get this one back on. There it goes. Okay, I think that's good. And then hopefully if we need to adjust the carb, we can just get the screws in there, the screwdriver in there. High, low. Well guys, we're gonna stop here for today. And I'm happy to say that we got the carb rebuilt, and you know, it's really not a big deal to do, especially with YouTube these days where you can watch somebody doing it. If I didn't have the video camera running, I could probably do the whole thing within an hour, hour and a half tops, without really rushing through it. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put some of these shrouds back on, and then in the next video we're going to go ahead and tune it up. We'll put a new fuel filter in, put a new air filter on, we're going to change out the spark plug, and then just go ahead and check the exhaust port as well. And then hopefully the video after that we'll go ahead and fire up and see if she cuts. Thanks a lot for sticking with me through the series, guys, and we will see you in the next episode. Take care.